Elijah Vance loved the quiet of the early morning. It was his time. The surface of Lake Serenity was a perfect, undisturbed mirror, reflecting the deep oranges and soft pinks of the dawn sky. His 22-foot Chris-Craft, the Serenity's secret, cut a gentle wake through the water, the purr of its inboard engine a soothing hum. He just finished his first cup of coffee, brewed in the galley of the small but elegant boathouse that was his true home. As he guided the boat into its slip, he noticed a woman standing on the communal dock, arms crossed, her posture radiating impatience. She was dressed in pristine white tennis attire, her blonde hair pulled into a severe ponytail. Elijah gave a friendly nod as he tied off the lines. "Can I help you?" he asked. Her eyes, hidden behind large designer sunglasses, scanned him, then the boat, with palpable disapproval. "This is a private dock for residents of the Lakeside Manor HOA," she stated, her voice crisp and devoid of warmth. "You can't just park this thing here." Elijah paused, a slow smile spreading across his face. He'd heard rumors about the HOA's welcome wagon, but this was his first encounter. "It's not a thing, it's a boat. And I am a resident." She scoffed lightly. "The condos on the ridge are for residents. These docks are for homeowners. This is a premium location. We have bylaws about eyesores and property values. You'll need to move it immediately. Try the public marina on the south end. I believe they accommodate larger vessels." The pause was deliberate, the condescension unmistakable. Elijah kept his tone even. "Ma'am, I assure you, my boat and I are exactly where we're supposed to be. I'm the HOA board president, Brenda Whitlock," she said, as if presenting a royal title. "And I'm assuring you that you are not. Now, unless you'd like me to call our security contractor and have this vessel towed at your expense, you'll move it today." Elijah simply nodded, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. "I'll take that under advisement, Mrs. Whitlock. You have a good day now." He turned and walked up the path toward the cluster of lakeside condos, leaving a fuming Brenda on the dock, certain she had just handled another person who didn't understand the rules of her world.
The following evening, a notice was slipped under Elijah's door. It was a formal violation from the Lakeside Manor Homeowners Association, citing unauthorized use of common area Dock B and storage of an oversized, unapproved vehicle in a common element. A fine of $250 was levied, with a threat of daily increases until the violation was corrected. Elijah read it twice, then carefully filed it in a folder on his desk labeled HOA. The folder was already thick. A week later, he found himself in the stuffy community clubhouse for the monthly HOA meeting. Brenda Whitlock held court from the head of the table, efficiently moving through agendas about lawn ornament restrictions and garbage can visibility. "And now, under new business," Brenda said, adjusting her glasses, "we have the ongoing issue of Dock B. Despite a written warning, the unauthorized vessel remains. This is a clear violation of our community's standards." A man with a thick neck and a polo shirt stretched over his belly, introduced as Chuck, head of the neighborhood watch, chimed in. "Saw him again this morning. Big fella. Looks like he's living on it. Probably doesn't even own a place here. We might have a squatter situation." Murmurs of concern rippled through the room. Elijah, sitting quietly in the back, raised his hand. "I own Unit 7, he said calmly, "and the boat is docked at my private slip." Brenda offered a thin, patronizing smile. "Mr. Vance, is it? The deeds for the Ridge units clearly state that dock access is a privilege for the estate homeowners, not the condominium owners. It's a common misconception. The docks are for the fishing club members and their guests." "The fishing club?" Elijah asked. "The Lakeside Anglers," Chuck said proudly. "We have a standing reservation for Dock B every Saturday. Your boat is in our spot." "I see," Elijah said, his voice low and steady. "And this fishing club? It has exclusive rights?" "Approved by the board," Brenda confirmed. "It's an official HOA-sanctioned club. Now, about your boat." "I'll look into the matter," Elijah replied, standing. "Thank you for clarifying the situation." He left the meeting, the folder tucked under his arm, feeling their self-satisfied stares on his back. The next Saturday, Elijah was woken by the sound of loud voices and laughter outside his boathouse. He peered through the window to see Chuck and 3 other men from the HOA board unloading coolers and fishing gear onto Dock B, right next to the Serenity's secret. Chuck spotted him and waved him over with a false heartiness. "Vance, just in time. We're gonna need you to shove off, buddy. Club business." Elijah walked out onto the dock, dressed not in fishing gear but in dark slacks and a crisp button-down shirt. "I'm afraid I can't do that, Chuck." Brenda arrived then, looking triumphant. "Mr. Vance, this is the final straw. You've been fined, you've been warned in a public meeting. Chuck, call the tow company. Let's get this settled." As Chuck pulled out his phone, a black sedan pulled into the community's parking lot. A man and a woman in sharp business suits got out, carrying briefcases and a large rolled document. They walked with purpose directly toward the dock. "Can I help you?" Brenda asked, her authority challenged by their professional demeanor. The woman ignored her and addressed Elijah. "Mr. Vance? I'm Sarah Reed, from Reed and Associates. This is my colleague, Mark. We have the documents you requested." Elijah nodded. Perfect timing. He turned to the bewildered HOA board. "You wanted to discuss dock rights, Brenda? Let's discuss." Sarah unrolled the document. It was a large, old-looking surveyor's map. "This is the original plat for the Lake Serenity area and the Lakeside Manor development, circa 1978, she explained. "It clearly shows the deeded property lines." Mark opened his briefcase and produced a newer, formal document. "And this is the current title and deed for the lake itself, Lot A1 of the original plat, including all water rights, mineral rights, and riparian access points. It was purchased in its entirety by the late William Vance 25 years ago to prevent overdevelopment." Elijah finally spoke, his voice carrying across the quiet water. "My father. He loved this lake. He bought it to protect it. When he passed, he left the surrounding land to be developed, but he left the lake itself to me." He looked at Brenda, whose face had begun to pale. "My private slip isn't on your common area dock, Brenda. You built your common area dock on my private lake. And you've been using it for years based on a licensing agreement with my father that, I'm afraid, expired last month." The color drained completely from Brenda's face. Chuck's phone was frozen halfway to his ear. That's impossible," Brenda stammered. "The HOA has always maintained the docks." "You maintained them with my father's permission," Elijah corrected. "A permission I have not granted to you, or to your fishing club." Sarah Reed handed Brenda a formal, legal document. "This is a notice of termination of easement and license to access. Effective immediately, the Lakeside Manor HOA and its members are trespassing on Mr. Vance's private property. All docks, buoys, and other structures extending past the surveyed shoreline must be removed within 30 days. Mark added, "You'll also find a bill for 10 years of back-due licensing fees, calculated at market rate. The HOA has been enjoying these amenities for free for a decade." The amount at the bottom of the page made Brenda gasp. It was a number that could bankrupt the HOA's reserve fund. You can't do this," Chuck blustered, finally finding his voice. "I believe I just did," Elijah said softly. "And as for your club's standing reservation, it's canceled. You're evicted. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to enjoy my morning on my lake. Please take your gear and leave." The once boastful anglers scrambled to pack their things under the stern gaze of the lawyers, their fishing trip ruined before it began. The news spread through Lakeside Manor like a wildfire. The HOA president had tried to evict a man from his own dock, only to discover he owned the entire lake. Panic set in. Property values were going to crater. Their coveted lake access was gone. An emergency meeting was called. The clubhouse was packed with angry, fearful homeowners. Brenda Whitlock was shouted down the moment she tried to speak. A vote of no confidence was passed instantly, removing her and Chuck from the board. A new president, a retired accountant named Ben, was appointed. His first task was to lead a small delegation to Elijah's boathouse, hat in hand. "Mr. Vance," Ben began, his voice trembling slightly, On behalf of the community, we offer our most sincere apologies. Brenda's actions were unacceptable. We had no idea. Elijah listened, sipping his coffee. The problem wasn't just Brenda, he said. It was the culture. The assumption that you could dictate terms to someone without even knowing who they were. We understand that. We are prepared to pay the licensing fees. We'll set up a proper lease agreement. Whatever you want. What I wanted, Elijah said, was to drink my coffee in peace. What I wanted was a friendly wave, not a violation notice. The money isn't the point. The respect is. After a week of negotiations, a new agreement was drafted. Elijah dropped the back fees, astonishing the HOA. He wasn't interested in crushing them. He was interested in fairness. The new lease was strict but fair. The HOA could maintain the docks, but access was a privilege, not a right. The Lakeside Anglers Club was officially dissolved. In its place, a new community sailing and fishing club was formed, open to all residents, condo and estate owners alike. Elijah was offered a permanent, honorary seat on the HOA board, which he politely declined. He did, however, have one non-negotiable condition. Brenda Whitlock and Chuck had to perform 40 hours of community service each, maintaining the walking paths around the lake they had once claimed to protect so fiercely. A month later, on a perfect Saturday morning, Elijah motored the Serenity's secret out into the middle of the lake and cut the engine. The silence was absolute. From his pocket, he pulled a small, weathered photograph of his father, standing proudly next to the same boat years ago. "We protected it, Pop," he whispered to the water and the sky. "Just like you wanted." As the sun warmed the deck, he saw a figure on the shore wave. It was Ben, the new HOA president, with his young grandson, both holding fishing poles. Elijah waved back. He looked at the beautiful, quiet cove where the HOA's docks were still standing, where families were now fishing together under the new, inclusive rules. It was finally living up to its name. Lake Serenity was at peace. He started the engine, a contented smile on his face, and turned the Serenity's secret toward home.